Hi guys, it's Chris with City Girl Homestead. So I've been invited for the second year in a row to join a collab, and it's this year called #Emergency 2025. It is hosted by Natasha over at the Budget Preppers. And what it's supposed to be about is anything. You can do food prep, you can do, water conservation, you can do anything that would be for survival. And anything to that degree. You can cook recipes, you can do whatever you want. She is doing a drawing. It will be April 5th at 7 o'clock on the Budget Preppers channel. And some of the prizes are a Thrive Life Chef Pack, USA only, a Jace case, USA and Canada, and it'll be donating a $300 gift card towards that. And those Jace cases are really nice. Sagan Life, Kettle Kitchen Ultimate Base. If you go to her channel, you can see it. It's really cool, actually. That's the USA only. Raw Paws Pet Food, 2 sets of dog cat freeze-dried food. That is the USA only, too. I'm sorry, guys. City Prepping, free month, 6-month membership. And it's exclusive online prepping, open to any country. So be sure that you go back. I know mine's at the end of the month, but try to go back up. You've got a few days. And make sure you put thoughtful comments on. And if you like their channels, like, share, and subscribe. And see what thoughts they have. I've been watching a lot of the channels, and they have wonderful ideas. And you might actually enjoy everything. So, as most of you know that are my regular subscribers, and that I really am into food prep. I like to can, I like to dehydrate, I like to do just about anything. But other than canning and my dehydrator, I do have my favorite tool of the kitchen, and I kind of want to show that off. Now, I have just the cheap one here. Well, it's $20-some, but it doesn't have a cutter or anything like that. It's nothing fancy, it just seals. The vacuum sealer, to me, is something that every kitchen should have. Whether you're, preserving, meat or vegetables or, dry goods or whatever it is, you just gotta have a vacuum sealer. Now, I do have the fancier one, and it cuts and it does all that, but this one I keep right on my countertop because it's so light and it's so easy to take care of. So I'm going to show you how to preserve a couple things. I'm not going to show you how to do spaghetti today because I don't have any spaghetti that's not already prepped up. My spaghetti, what I do is I break it in half and I put it into a paper bag. Then I put it into my quart bag and seal it. And that way you don't have all those sharp pieces, cutting away at what you need to do. And then what happens? Your seal breaks. So bags come in pints, quarts, and they also come in gallons, as far as I know. I've never used the gallon ones. My favorites are the pints and the quarts. So we're going to do some egg noodles here. And I do these a little bit different, and I'll show you why. So I have egg noodles first. Because people don't think about it. They think, oh my gosh, it comes in a bag. It'll be fine. No, that bag is not sealed. I mean, it's sealed, but it's not vacuum sealed. So, one person could accidentally have put a small prick hole in there, and guess what? It's letting in air. So I'm going to fill my bag with those egg noodles. I know it's noisy. Sorry, guys. This bag must be really full. I do keep some in the glass containers as well. So I'll put that in my glass container, whatever I have left. Which is no big deal. You can store in glass or plastic, whatever's best for you. But for long-term storage, So I use my glass and plastic for a working pantry. I use I call it my air sucker outer. I use that for long term. So I put them in the bag. I might still have too much in there. We'll see. And then I'm going to take that air out. But with these, if you notice, they break easier. So this is what I do. Yeah, I've got too much in there still. Hold on 1 second. I didn't mean to take up this much time for that. This must have been a double bag and I didn't realize it. But that's alright. That's quite alright. It works. Alright. That will probably be much better. Now I do try to kind of flatten it as much as I can too as well. There, now it's suction up. Now when it starts to crinkle up like that, because these ones I don't want to break, when it gets about there, I stop it. And then I will seal it. Because if you go too tight on this, it will break open your bag. So there we go. See, it's still nice and sealed, nice and tight, but it's not going to break your noodles. You don't want to break your noodles all up. That wouldn't be good. Now, my elbow noodles, same thing as with your plastic. Cardboard is just really, really bad for long-term storage. My thing is I want to be able to store my stuff to last for a long time. Now this one's a big box, so I know I'm going to have to do 2 bags of it. Because I bought a 2-pound box. So we're going to use about half of that. Now with your elbow noodles, I just lay them flat. And these ones, because they're not going to break because they're pretty thick, you can just suck out all the air right out of them. Just like that. Now this one, it will do the sealing, or it'll do all the air coming out of it. And then hear that last noise. That's like reinforcing that you know that it's doing that. Then it'll click on again. And when it does that, it's actually sealing it. And then it's ready to go. And look how little space that takes up into your kitchen. Pretty good, huh? I'll be right back and I'll show you the next thing. So now I just finished taking care of those, but the next step is make sure that you keep them in a cool, dry place. We usually keep them in a, we have a tub that we keep them in, or in some drawers downstairs. That way they're out of the element. You can put them in a 5-gallon bucket and save them that way. We do have 5-gallon water jugs that we fill with like potato flakes and oatmeal and things like that with oxygen absorbers. Don't put shock absorbers in there. Oxygen absorbers. And it helps to keep them fresh. With my noodles, they're so tightly done, I don't put an oxygen absorber in there with them. If you want to, you can do that. If you like, you can vacuum seal your flour and your sugar, even though they tell you can't. If you put it in the brown lunch bag first and then put it in there, then you can seal it up. With your sugar, do not use an oxygen absorber because it'll get hard as a rock. I actually use Mylar bags for mine now, but you can do it with your paper bags and with your vacuum seal bags. Now, you're out shopping or you're looking at your ads, which I do every week, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's such a great sale. But, you know, what am I going to do with that? Like, how many times do you actually cook like a full pork loin, or, you know, things like that. And so you want to be able to maybe break it down, or maybe you're afraid to. So let's get that fear out of the way. Now, at my local store this week, they had pork loins for $1.59 a pound. Here in Michigan, they've been running $3 a pound. $2.99, $3, same thing. So, and pork chops, boneless ones, are way more expensive than that. You know, meat prices, yeah, they're pretty high. Now with your meat, if you get them and they're frozen, let them thaw a little bit, but still let them stay a little bit frozen, because it makes it easier to cut your meat. Believe it or not, if it's partially frozen, it will be easier. So now these are not going to be like huge chops, you know, unless you get bigger ones, you know what I mean? And some of them, they might break in, you know, because they're cut in half or whatever. That's okay. It's still going to eat. But this, actually, instead of paying $5.99 a pound for pork chops, or whatever they're charging right now, it's crazy. You can, you know, so what, they're not as wide or whatever. Or they break in half like that one just did too. Now I'm going to, I went and bought more of these today. And I am going to actually can some up too. Because when you can them up, they actually make really good, like, you know, pulled pork sandwiches and stuff like that. They work really well for that. Now I put on my bag already, pork chops, $3.25, and we're going to put them in the quart bags. See, I didn't cut that one apart very good. And see, they're smaller pieces, but that's okay. You know, that makes it more bite-sized, right? Which will be fine too. Now I'm going to put quite a few in this bag, because my husband, we always got to make enough for his lunch the next day. And he'll love that these pieces are smaller. It makes them easier for him to eat at work. I think one more piece should be plenty. So we're going to get that vacuum sealer out. What I like about this one, actually the back comes off, so you can take the bottom part and you can wash it right in the sink. So now with the meat, we want it to be as tight as possible. And it makes it much easier to stack them up in the freezer, and you know exactly what's in that bag. Now see, I do have a lot of food in the freezer, but the bottom line is, if something happened, and I had to do that with hamburger when we first got our big freezer, it wasn't acting right, and I canned up all that hamburger. I would take all the pork that I have, everything, and I would put it in jars, and I'd get it canned up, and that way it doesn't go to waste. So look at how beautiful that is, and it's all ready. And you don't have to have that great big pork loin there. You can just package it into smaller packages. I know sometimes, you know, we talk about food preservation and everything, and it's sometimes so hard to grasp, because I remember when I first started, you know, and there's so many different things to think about, you know what I mean? And it just gets overwhelming, and you're like, I'm frustrated and I don't know what to do with all this stuff. I have been buying turkey breast for 99 cents a pound at the Amish Not Amish store. I have been buying pork, ground pork, then these, anything that I can find that saves a lot of money. And I've either been vacuum sealing it or canning it and getting it so that it's, you know, long term. Your freezer, everybody says a year and everything's bad. That is not true. If you look up on a lot of different sites, it'll tell you as long as it's in a sealed bag, it'll last 2 years or longer. As long as you're not getting all that frost in there. If the seals have broke and you notice that, pull it out and reseal it so that it prolongs your food. With your noodles and everything like that, they're good for a couple of years if you vacuum seal them like that. Air, light, bad combination makes them go really, really quick. So I know it's probably not a very long video today and it doesn't go into great detail, but I will leave a link for this on my page, and honestly, I love it. I've got, you know, the real expensive one over there, and I've got another one downstairs. But honestly, I was so hesitant to get a vacuum sealer because I'm like, I'll never use it. Other than canning, I probably use my vacuum sealer the most. I do use my dehydrator when it gets around harvest time and whatever, and I will, you know, dehydrate some of the things that I've gotten from my garden or whatever. But canning and then this. So, I mean, you can ask any questions, but honestly, for as small as the investment is, it will save you a ton of money in the long run because you will not have all that meat, veggies, fruit, everything else go bad. I can buy big bags of blueberries and break them down into smaller packages, vacuum seal them. Then I have something for my husband's lunch, for his parfaits. You know, put them in you know, packages that will fit and accommodate your family. I hope this helped out a little bit. Check out the other channels. They do tell a lot of information. And, you know, make sure you put a nice, thoughtful comment in there and get your name into the drawing. And there are other things, too, that will be drawn there that some of the collaborators have donated and stuff. And that'll come at the end. But it is on April 5th, 7 o'clock on the Budget Preppers. So let's get prepping. Let's take care of our families. And God bless everybody.